What's up, PlayStation Universe? Kyle has some exciting news to share with you. Something that we've seen for a while now, for the past few years at E3. No Man's Sky by Hello Games. And Kyle got to, did you get to actually play it or just get to watch it?
Just
okay.
Watch it, yes,
all right.
yes.
Well, what did you think?
Well, so it was a really interesting demo. It was Sean Murray, the kind of head honcho at Hello Games, or at least the guy doing all the publicity, right? Such a humble, nice dude. But anyway, so yeah, it was a section of the game, or really just free roaming in the game, and he wanted to show us a few different aspects of that experience. So he kind of just jumped from planet to planet, did a whole bunch of different things, but I mean, one of the biggest takeaways is just how absolutely enormous that game is, right? He did the same thing in the press conference where he zoomed out, go to random stars, let's just see what's in this area. Except, you know, there's something really impactful about seeing that happen live, knowing it's not scripted, just seeing the flick of the analog stick as you look and see every solar system, every star on that star map that you can go to and have procedurally generated for you. Now, he did explain a little more about the technical side of how that generation works, so I'll do my best. Essentially, the game has a master formula that generates everything in the universe, the animals, the planets, the aliens, the flora, the shape of the terrain, and that happens once the first time a player comes within proximity of those things. When that happens, it becomes a discovery of the player, it's credited to them, and it's something that you gain credits for by uploading to, you know, the Star Alliance or, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, if two players were to arrive at the same planet simultaneously at the same time, that master formula is always going to generate the same thing when the discovery is made. If that makes any sense at all. Essentially, the universe is kind of created, but sort of not really at the same time.
So the universe is completely unexplored now, when the game has been. But once players start exploring it on the server, whoever finds the planet is permanently there in existence once it's been found.
Yes.
So other players can visit the same exact place in the same exact spot if they spend enough time.
And the formula would always kick out the same results no matter how many people came at it at the same time, whatever. It's going to be the same thing every time. So beyond that, let's talk about gameplay a little bit. So he did really elaborate on the goal of No Man's Sky, the objective, and what that means to Hello Games' studio. Of course, as we know, it is a sandbox experience. At its core, it's one of those things that lives with the philosophy of, you know, why do you really play games? I mean, what do you want to get out of the experience? And that's totally okay, that's encouraged. But at the very core of it, you are trying to move from the outer fringes of the universe toward the core center of the universe, which, as you zoom past hundreds and thousands of stars and solar systems, does start to grow a little bit, come a little more in focus. You're always moving a little closer to it. In order to do that, you upgrade your ship, get new hyperdrive modules to jump from star to star, and also purchase the fuel that's required to do that. So it all requires credits. I like to think of it as you're kind of a scientist, you're kind of an explorer making those discoveries and uploading them to fuel your adventures. Sure. But, you know, the possibilities are endless from there. So the merchant ships, the freighters that we've seen in some trailers, a lot of times those are AI things that are, like planets, spawn when you come into that area for the first time. Some merchants will just be bringing goods from a planet to a store, to a space station. Some of these people will be pirates attacking and trying to take those goods, and players can do the same thing. You know, you can go to a planet, mine it for ore, resources, and then go off on your own and find a space station that purchases that at a really high price, essentially forming your own trade route, essentially finding your own way to build credits in the universe. So I don't know if that necessarily will interest me. You know, it's a little rote. It's a little bit just making money for the sake of it. But the possibilities are boundless, and the world looks incredible. The details are incredible.
Given that the world is boundless, assuming that you explored some new worlds, what were some of the new stuff that you saw that we haven't seen before?
Oh, sure, creatures, yeah. So he did show some new species, some new, and I'm trying to recall exactly what they looked like. You know, we saw the little dudes in the trailer, the little running guys. Our creatures were a little more four-legged in nature. They were timid, so they did kind of like run away from him, while some other creatures might be hostile, totally. And he also commented on the fact that, you know, sometimes you might not find interesting things when you explore the universe, and that's the nature of having such a large play space. You might come into a new solar system, warp there for the first time, and not find anything of interest. Thankfully, we did have plenty, but it's overwhelming to see all the little details. So,
wow. So yeah, it sounds about as good as they promised.
Yeah,
so
like
in terms of the expansion and
the hype
everything
was
that's there.
warranted.
So
Yeah, it is as built. I think the biggest question is going to be how much mileage do you get out of the experience? Your mileage will vary. So are you going to become a merchant? Are you going to attack other players, other AI ships? Are you going to thwart kind of the law enforcement that governs that galaxy and do whatever you want to? How will you make your way? And it's a question of, I guess for me, it matters a lot how long it takes to get to the center of the universe. Is it going to be just a little bit of time? Is it going to be 3 hours, 4 hours, a dozen hours? Because that matters to me. I don't see myself being the kind of person who will really carve out an experience for 50 hours, 60 hours in that world.
Sure.
But your mileage will vary, so we'll see how it turns out.
Right. So we're going to definitely see more from No Man's Sky because it's impossible to see everything in it.
Yeah.
So good reviews from what you saw.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we get to play some of it eventually in the near future.
Yeah, I would love that.
And so I guess stay tuned to PSU for more news for the rest of the week. And stay tuned to PSU for more news on No Man's Sky. So we'll see you guys soon.